So welcome back, and in this video we're going to talk about the audio MIDI setup tool on the Mac operating system. Essentially, this is going to allow us to create a network session in order to send data such as MIDI notes and so on and so forth across a network cable across to multiple hosts so that we can communicate between the different laptops to spread our load but keep everything in sync and have everything run in time to the music, visuals, lighting, etc. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up the audio MIDI setup tool. I have it open here already, and what we'll see is on the left hand side we've got our audio devices configuration, and in this window we get the MIDI setup configuration. If you need to find either one, you can go to window and you can find them in here. What we'll see is we've got various MIDI devices set up, the Brain 2, which is my MIDI controller, the Tractor Control S8 and our MPD 232. We'll also find in here the IAC driver. We can switch it on and off and create more buses here if we want. But what we're interested today is the network setup. Okay, so what we've got in front of us now is a window whereby we can connect to other computers that are on our hosts, and we can allow other computers to connect to us so that we can traffic data over and back. What we'll see is in my directory here, I'm allowing any computer to connect to me, but obviously only the ones that are on the same network can do so. I have the Beast in here. The Beast is another machine that we've got running. I'm basically running AbletonLive on that, and what we can do is we can stream data between the two, send notes, sync, start, stop, so on and so forth. And if we want to, we'll see the directory already has the Beast installed, but we can add another machine if we like. We can click the plus button, we can put in the machine name, the host address, the port number that it's going to come in on, and so forth. You'll see already there's 5004. I would recommend you stick to that port number, because as we can see, when we create a new session, we click the plus button, we go into session 2, and we'll see it's not enabled, and in here we can put in the port number. If I skip back to the session I've created already, you'll see the port number is in here, 5004, and the session is enabled. I've given the session a local name, which is lab session. If you go into session 2, you'll see here if I change the name, it copies it over into my section. So if we go back to our lab session, I've given this a bonjour name of David's MacBook Pro. It's my MacBook. That's how I know when I go over to the Beast. If I'm looking for a computer, this is the name that it will see. This is what I've set up on the Beast already. I have changed its bonjour name to be the Beast. So what we can do now is we can select a computer from our directory and we can simply click on connect. That's it. We are now connected. Okay. So essentially now what's going to happen is these two machines will be able to send data over and back to each other across the network connection. I've literally connected a network cable on one side, connected the network cable on the other side. The best thing to do is to allow both to boot up at the same time so that they find each other and that they find their own IP configuration. Let that do its own work, and all we have to do is dial in the IP address of the other machine into the network session, and that helps us to find that. Okay, so what we'll do now is we can simply go into our system preferences, and while I mention that, we can just go into our network session, and in here what we'll find is under Thunderbolt Ethernet, it has a self-assigned IP. Here's my IP address, here's my subnet mask, and these are the details that I use if I'm connecting to another machine. For example, with this address, I could copy that, paste it in here, say which port number I want to connect on, 5004, and give the machine a name. This then is able to connect to me, and we're able to connect to each other over and back over the network, and we are now networked up. Obviously you can do this with multiple hosts if you're using a network connection, and I should say a router. We can have multiple hosts connected to that, gather up the addresses, add them all into the directory, and then we can talk to all these different hosts, all synchronized, all in connection. Boom, networking at its finest. Get to it.